Yeah. Step onto the playground, feel the energy.
All right, welcome to the podcast playground where podcasters come to play. Today, my guest is no other than Nicole. Welcome to the playground, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again, Jason. You know, I done came and played with you on the playground before, but not in studio. But I like coming to the playground. I enjoy it.
I figured since we cleaned up the place.
Yes,
I might as well have you in.
I love it. I love what you're doing with the place. Looks good.
I try. We chilling this thing on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So I appreciate you hanging with me.
That's why I want my shirt.
I see it.
That's why I want my shirt. I was like, okay, it's Valentine's Day. We filming. Let's go on and do it.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Man, oh man.
I appreciate you having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming.
All right.
I said, man, when I text you, I said, man, see what Nicole up to.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to have her on the show again, this time with the actual host of the playground.
Yes.
Because, before I was trying to stay behind the curtains.
Yes.
I done creeped into the light.
Okay. Come on into the light. Come into the light.
All right. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What got you into podcasting? Because I know you have your own shows.
Yes. So what happened a few years ago, our junior high here in Jacksonville, which is Highlands, well, it's middle school now, but when we were stuck in the yard, it was junior high. So we every few years we'll do a reunion, a junior high reunion.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the reunion, and one of the days we was doing a cookout and everything, and eating crabs and doing all that usual stuff. So we talked about. I told some of the girls, I said, hey, let's do something again at my house, and we'll just hang out and chill or whatever. So we were at my house eating crabs and drinking. And one of the girls there, she said she wanted to do a podcast. And I was like, well, let's do it, and we kind of laughed and joked. And we talked about at that point, because she wanted to do the podcast, we talked about, let's do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, I'm down, But it was interesting for me just being there, because listening to them, because a lot of the girls that was talking, they were more street savvy. They had been out in Jacksonville. They knew a lot of the gossip. They knew a lot of everything that had happened through the years, people that it happened to. And so I felt it was even though I was kind of not in that circle, so to speak, but it was just cool being a fly on the wall, And I still had stuff to add to it, because I had a few stories and a few tales to tell of my own. Yeah, because I've lived. And so I went back to work in California. I left and went back to work in California. And while I was there, my best friend had called me, and she was like, hey, what's up with the podcast? Because she was one of the girls that was there at the house that day. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't know, ain't nobody really been saying nothing about it, And she was like, well, I'm interested. Let's go and try to make it happen. When I came back to Jacksonville, I reached out to one or two of the girls that was there. And they was like, let's move forward with it. It sounds like a good idea. And so at that point, I had been on Under the Tree podcast that Leander Palmer has. So I had been on his thing, which was like a phone thing. You call in, you
right.
have the link, and we were all on phones talking and stuff. And I reached out to him, and I said, hey, me and my friends, we got an idea. We kind of want to do this podcast. And it just kind of took off from there. He gave me, some pointers, some ideas. He hooked me up with the guy that he had recently hooked up with, and they were actually visiting sets and recording. So it wasn't going to be the phone setup. It was going to be in-house.
In-house, ready to roll.
Ready to roll. So at that point, we just ordered a backdrop. We came up with a logo. We ordered a backdrop.
So you went full 100 on that?
Yeah, we went full 100. We ordered a backdrop where we had the logo, backdrop, and they came to the house and they shot us, and it just took off from there.
Now, how would you say your experience was between being online and them actually being in-house? Which one do you say you prefer more?
I prefer in-house, because to me it looks
cleaner.
It looks cleaner. And from where I live, I've experienced, because after we did that, after we set up which our podcast is Divas of the Roundtable Podcast. And so we're on YouTube, Divas of the Roundtable Podcast. And Facebook.
Play with it.
So after we set that up, we actually came up with Table Talk, Divas of the Roundtable, Table Talk. Table Talk is our version of the phone setup.
Okay.
But what I'm finding out is my location, and I don't know what it is. It's a lag. And I'm trying to work past that because I'm not as
Tech savvy
as far as recording and doing stuff like that. So I don't like it because it's kind of hard to go down when you started up so high. We started up filming in studio,
Right.
you know, on location, so to speak. And then to kind of go back down to the phone thing and it's not clean, I don't like it. So I don't utilize Table Talk. But Table Talk is a way for us to reach audiences that's not in Jacksonville and that we can't get to in person, which I love that idea, but I got to find a way to clean it up. So right now, in person, that's my...
I mean, I think I've done maybe 4 different ones that were online versions, streaming live versions. And I'm with you. I prefer in studio where the guest comes in, they sit down, we talk.
Yeah.
Because doing this process, you go through so many different iterations of, do we want the mics here? Do we want to use lapels? Do we want to use shotgun mics?
Yeah.
You know, how much money do we want to spend? Do we want to spend a little as possible to get the best results? And there's so many different ways you can go with this. It's insane.
Yeah. And one thing too, I've noticed, just tuning in, and I believe one of the episodes was on your thing with the playground, when you have other people in and they're not stationary, they haven't had a time and a place, and not all of the outside, you know, influences coming in. And I'm sitting there on the screen and I'm like, this person talking to somebody in the background and they, you know.
Yeah, they're not focused on the interview at
Well, what's
hand
going on?
because they're focused on life around them.
Yes.
So when they're in studio, they can't really focus on life around them. They have to
Yes, you have to focus on what's going on, the conversation that's in front of you, you know, and it's just, I don't like the distractions. I like it. I'm not a perfectionist and nothing like that, but I believe in, if you're making a product and you're spending your time and money, you need to make sure that that's the best product that you're putting out there. Yeah. And I wouldn't want to be watching the show and somebody that you know, interview somebody yelling and talking to. That's funny. That's funny when you have people like, ain't nobody got time for that. You know, the people doing them interviews.
If it's
but
a blooper reel,
yeah.
that's on point.
But in real life, and you're trying to get across a topic or a situation, a conversation, you don't want to hear that. You want somebody that's engaged in the conversation at hand.
Right.
And
you want that back and forth.
Yes.
You don't want it to be scripted. You don't want it to be forced.
yeah.
You just want it to be nice conversation that's smooth, that's not forced in either direction.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, it's like me saying, hey, what y'all doing over there? And now I've ignored my guest
Exactly.
to talk to somebody.
Exactly. And so for me, it's like, nah, unless you, the person on the other side, because we've had times with Divas of the Round Table Talk. We tried to do one time and it was a thunderstorm going on in my house. It was windows rattling and shaking and booms and pows. And one of my co-hosts, it was her friend. He was the guest. We were talking to him. He was somewhere, the lighting was bad, and he kept moving around on camera. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? And I'm like, you know what? I told him, I said, let's just, because we wasn't live. When we film Table Talk, we film it, and then I put it out later. So I don't go live even with the...
Right, because you need to be able to fix things that are unforeseen.
Yes. So I'm glad that we don't go live because I stopped it. I said, you know what? Let's wait till you get in a better, and his Wi-Fi was crazy. I'll say, let's wait till you get in a better location. Let's wait till this hurricane or whatever going on outside my house leave, and we'll film another day. And him and her stopped talking before we got to that part, but whatever. That's another story.
You think about it like this. My first playground interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was with a reverend. It was overseas. And I couldn't get the computer to get the audio to work. So he's sitting there. He's like, "Do you hear me?" And I'm like, "No." I'm typing to him. No. He said, "Your stuff must be broken." I said, "My stuff is not broken. Can we? I know your time is, valuable."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Can we reconvene tomorrow? And I promise you it'll be a better interview." And we did. We went for almost 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I had to cut that thing short because I was like, ooh, this is a long interview.
Yeah. And see, that's for me. I've had 3 really, really good interviews that doing that type of internet streaming thing, it just did not work. I did one with one of our prior guests, Terrell Bradford. Her mom suffers from dementia. So I wanted to do something about dementia. And at that particular time, I was in California, I was in LA, and I was off my vessel because our boat was in dry dock, and I was able to be in the hotel. I was stationary, I was good, but child, I ain't had no wig and nothing. When I go on them boats to be working, I have my hair in a ponytail. I'm looking, look, I'm going straight tomboy, I'm thugged out, you know, so I done found a shirt or something to tie it around my head. I'm looking like Erykah Badu, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, you know, I'm trying to film her. And again, it was crazy. It was
the lag
the audio was just, her thing was her mic. It was really low, and she didn't know how to bring it up. You could barely hear her. And I'm in a hotel with nothing going on, and I'm straining to hear her. So I sent the video to Mike, my producer. Jason know he's my producer, but y'all don't know that. I sent it to Mike.
And he good.
I sent it to Mike, and Mike said, I can't do nothing with it. So he knows her because, you know, he produced our show that she was on. And he called her and told her what to do. And so me and her had to film again the next day. You know, we did it, and she said, yeah, I'll do it all over again. And it was so good. You know, I was trying to remember some of it because it was just straight off the dome, you know, just talking to her about her mom and her experiences.
Some of the stuff, you know, there's pre-prep, and then there's some that's not.
Yeah.
So I produce other podcasts, and we set up for the first virtual one. The pump on the HD went out. It's in here squealing like a pig. I'm trying to shut it down. It won't stop. Then the mic is echoing.
Okay.
I was like, man, I just want to get through this.
Yeah.
By far the worst interview
Yes.
I've ever set up.
I'm telling you. But see, when I did Terrell the next day, now at this point, they've taken me from the hotel, and we had another person on another vessel that had to leave. So I had to go on that vessel. Now I'm on vessel.
Trying to do the interview.
Engines running. It was crazy. It was crazy. I was able to get through it, but I had to keep hitting that pause button because one time I snuck off into a room and then the guy knocking on the door like, hey, I'm trying to get in this room. It was crazy. It was crazy, but I made it through. And then I did another one where a young lady had married a guy and he had gave her HIV.
Oh, I think I seen that episode.
No, I didn't release it because it was horrible.
Didn't y'all do one on that though?
No, it was horrible. I don't know. Mike probably showed because I sent that to Mike to try to clean it up.
Yeah.
I didn't release it because it was terrible because of the lag. I'm asking a question.
And then you sit there like.
And I'm sitting there waiting on her to reply, but she hasn't gotten the question yet. It was terrible. So I waited. Mike tried to clean it up. He probably sent it to you to help try to clean it up. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think I seen that. I think I did see that one because he
great story. I mean, it's not a great
each other. And some of the projects that he does, some of the projects that I do, you know, I go back and forth. More eyes are better than one eye.
Yes.
Set of eyes. I mean, with the Divas of the Roundtable, conversations with Cole.
Yes.
If you've seen somebody getting into this industry, what would you even tell them?
I'll tell them to make sure they have a team. Build the team first. And everybody should know their roles and make sure the people that's on the team that knows their role is willing to fulfill their role. Because knowing something and doing something is totally different things.
By far.
Totally different things. And that's kind of what, you know, me and you talked off camera, but I kind of like crashed and burned real quick. And it took me back to when I was in college. I was going to college and I was taking all of these courses. I was raising 3 kids. I was working full time.
You had a full load.
And and I had a 4.0 GPA and dropped out. I walked away and never went back. I crashed and burned. It was like, because I was given so much and then I just went and I just crashed and burned. So that's what I'm noticing with the podcast because I'm the primary person that schedules. I reach out to the people. I follow through. I follow up. I come up with the show ideas. You know, the ladies contribute, but not as much.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got to the point to where I was exhausted, you know, and I just kind of burned out.
You're running the ship.
Yeah.
And you expect for your shipmates to be able to do something to help take some of that load off of you.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I produce 5, 6 of these podcasts, not including my own now. That I just started.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure between reaching out to people, like you said, it's about scheduling, making sure they're going to come.
Yes.
Make sure all parties have the same equal level of investment, because that's a toss up.
Yeah.
Having that equal level of investment, because if you don't, you know, nobody wants to set up a studio and nobody shows up to the studio.
Yeah, because that's the thing for me is to take something so serious, and that's your baby. That's like the project. That's the thing that you're working on. That's what you pour your energy, your extra time, your heart. I have a husband. I have 3 kids and 5 grandkids. I got a life.
Right.
But a lot of my life, I pour into the show. And then to kind of feel like it's being treated like a hobby sometimes, you know, on the other way. Yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, well, this is everything, you know, but I understand that. And because I'm mature enough to know that I can't expect me from other people.
Right. You have to have your level of what's acceptable. And then you have to realize that sometimes your level of acceptability is not the same as everybody else.
Yeah. So that's what I would tell somebody that's breaking into the industry. Build your team first. If you're gonna have a team, even if it's just you in front of the camera, you still need a team. You still need people to help come up with those ideas, because you're not gonna be able to fire on all cylinders all the time and come up with these shows ideas, have the connections. People that's connected, they could be part of your team. You know, it may be somebody who know people in local government, and it's different podcasts that you could do. Reaching out in that genre. So, you know, I would say build a team, make sure that everybody on the team know their role and willing to play their role.
Yeah, I think that right there is always the major key. Having people in places and making sure that together you all mesh. And realizing that sometimes lives. Yes. Because even though you have a team, you know, your co-host might have something going on. Yeah. And you can't predict what's going to happen in somebody else's life because you're not living it. True. So you have to make sure that you guys have a clear-cut, open communication so they can say, look, we can't do this. Yeah. We can't do it whenever we're supposed to do it because I got XYZ to handle. True. So it's that adult version to it that you have to have in order to make the team work. Yeah. Teams work when everybody on the team does their job. Yeah. Because that's, if you look at it, like even if you look at a sports team, when somebody get injured or can't play, the rest of the team still go out there and play. You know what I'm saying? If somebody step up into that person's position and they play, and they don't just play around with it or half-ass at it, you know, they give it their all. And they go in. And they go in. So, you know, you just got to be mindful of people that's just talking the talk and people that's really gonna walk the walk. So it's different when you're just sitting around saying, okay, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. But then when it's time to do it. And you know what also, you also have to be willing to know that you don't have to be in a studio. You don't have to have multiple cameras. You don't have to have any of that stuff. You have a cell phone. Yeah. As long as you got a good connection, you can literally sit in front of your cell phone and do your own podcast. Yeah. So you can be a team of one. Yeah. All day long. But if you're expecting to grow, then you're going to need a team of more. Yes, you definitely need a team of more. You know, and, you know, me and my co-host Ladybug, we were talking yesterday, and that's the thing about it. Like, and I think I was telling you, I said, like, I call Ladybug up and be like, hey, I need XYZ. She'll make sure it happens. And it was funny because I had messaged her, well, me and her talked when I was in Los Angeles flying back to Jacksonville. And I say, hey, it was a particular topic that we were working on. And because Facebook canceled my other page, my new page, I'm trying to build it up. So even though I have Facebook friends, because that page, they don't interact a lot, I think I'm not showing up
on their feeds and stuff like that as much. So I had inboxed the guy and said, hey, I'm interested in you coming on our show, because he made a post about something that the topic that I was concerned about.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, he'll be great. And his post got a lot of feedback from some of his fraternity brothers and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, this thing could really take off. And I want to talk about it. Let's be there at the ground level of it, or the conversation. Yeah. So he hadn't got back with me. And he's a person that we all went to junior high with. And so you see I'm emphasizing on that junior high. I'm telling my age. But so and I know she knows their family. She's closer. My co-host is closer with their family. So I say, hey, reach out to him and let him know, that we want to film him, have him on the show. I say, but I know he has a barbershop. So I know Saturdays is a big day for him, and that's our film day. And so she said, okay, I'm going to reach out to him. So as I was home yesterday morning.
He reached out?
No, I said, I hadn't heard back from her. I was like, oh, Ladybug done let me down. I've been talking good about her. I said, man, she ain't got back with me. I was like, you know what? If I don't hear from her, because I haven't scheduled any shows for our film day, which is next Saturday, a week from today.
Oh, so y'all are opposite of us.
Yeah. So I say I hadn't scheduled nothing because I was waiting to hear from him, because his schedule is so tight. I wanted him to have first pick of the time slot.
Right.
So I said, man, I ain't heard. I said, you know what? If I don't hear from him, I ain't even gonna worry about schedule. It's kind of like I'm in that funk right now. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's a funk. I think it's more or less like, if you get the guest, you okay with it.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you can still keep living, because it's not a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice to be able to put that information out there to the web for people to see it and people to have that connection to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end all be all.
And people is like, what happened to the show? When y'all coming out with another show? When y'all, we get that feedback, but it's like, at this point, I'm not going to force anything. You see what I'm saying?
I'm with you 100%.
I'm not going to force anything. And like I was telling you when we were talking about, what lane or what really moves me, all of our shows move me. But lately, I haven't had anything to move me, really. Now, that particular topic which it was about the food deserts,
Right.
And I'm going to hit on that. We had a guest, Mr. John White. He came on the show. And he was talking about the homeless veterans, or the homeless community in Jacksonville. So we did a show with him, and then me and his friendship kind of blossomed. We send each other stuff back and forth. He sent me a lot of stuff that's going on in the city. So he hosted a medical conference, and I went, and I was sitting there, and I asked the question later on and told him, hey, because just a lot of people on the panel I had interviewed, and I say, I've interviewed you, and I'm like, yeah, so everybody turned like, who is this, And so after that show, I had like 3 different people come up, hey, here's my card, I want to come on your show and talk. Hey, no problem.
Networking too.
Yeah, so one of the council women was there, and I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to get her on there, because she was the first person. I hate to sound ignorant and slow, but I had never heard the term food desert. I had never heard that before until she said it at that conference.
Event.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, shit, that'd be a good topic for her. I want her on the show. And then I told my mom about it, and come to find out, that councilwoman, was going to my mom's HOA meetings. And my mom was like, my daughter knows you. And she showed her, my mom showed her a clip of one of our podcasts, and she said, yeah, I remember her. And she gave my mom the card, said, here's my card, give your daughter my card, I want to come on the show. So, I'm like, this is a good topic, you know what I'm saying? And I just was starting to move into that direction of the food deserts, because I started to look at my area on the north side. It is food deserts, it is food shortages, they're closing the Walgreens, so that was a big thing. That's the only thing right now that I'm kind of passionate about, that I'm feeling something about. And then
once again, you have the platform to put it out.
Yeah.
I mean, the more eyes see stuff, more eyes and more bodies can want to be a part of stuff.
Yes. And that's why when he made the post, and it's crazy because I had just talked to me and my captain, who's a middle-aged Irish guy that lives in California, He don't know nothing about what's going on here, in Jacksonville. And so me and him was talking about it, and I literally went and saw the post the next day. literally read the post that the guy said about the food desert the next day. And I showed my captain. Yeah, I told my captain, I said, see what I'm saying? Because my captain was like, well, you know, he's trying to justify it, rationalize it, whatever. And I'm like, you don't understand. You got to be boots on the ground, seeing what I see, you know. And then when I showed him that post, I said, see, I'm not the only person that thinks like this and see this thing. You know, this is an issue. And he was like, yeah, I see what you mean. So that's when I was like, yeah, more people need to know this. And at that conference that I was at, that medical conference, I'm trying to get, I forgot his specific title, but he's like the medical advisor under Donald Deegan. He's on her team.
Oh, he's under Mayor Donald?
Yes. And he did a whole presentation, man, talking about the mortality rates and everything based on the zip codes and the different health elements. And
yeah, so he
even which he has to, and he displayed it at that particular conference that I was at. And I was like, people need to see this. People need to see this. So of course I reached out to him. You know I did.
I mean,
but he has to go through the powers that be.
Yeah, they have to go
to get the approval.
Sure
yes. So that's still in limbo, but that's another thing that I was passionate about. So right now, those are the only two kind of, everything else is just like, yeah, you know, we know what's going on in the government. We know if your name is Hector, Maria, Jose, we know you scared, you don't want to go out. We know ICE is on the move. What else can I talk about that stuff? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's three kind of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
There are the ones where the person goes through and they talk about their daily life.
Mm-hmm.
And there are the ones who, I'm going to call it news chase.
Yes.
Where they're chasing the next new news headline.
Yes.
So they can come on and they can talk about it. And then there are the ones who are somewhat informative, but yet they bring guests on. They're not trying to jump on any real bandwagon.
Yes.
They might touch a topic, but they're not going to be like, today, Jose got arrested by ICE.
Yeah.
That's not their main goal.
Yes.
But if you fit any of those lanes, that's cool because, once again, that's what podcasting is about.
Yeah. And see, that's what I was like, one of the things that our co-host, one of my co-hosts, Spice, said when we first was talking about doing the podcast, and it was like she was supposed to have been over like the gossip thing, you know. I really don't follow all of that stuff. I don't, you know, all the blogs and everything that's going on with the gossip because it changed daily. It changed from this person went to a Diddy party to that person never was at a party, you know. And my thing is, you know, if we want to talk about all of that at our age, we knew what the play was. We've been hearing about this stuff a long time ago. And I was telling people that about the R. Kelly thing. I'm like, hey, man, I ain't saying it's right or, you know, the children are victims, but their parents knew what the deal was because I knew he married a child. So why would I let my child go to the studio with this man?
Well, because at the end of the day, it was easy for the parents to want to do it because they wanted the fame from it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I was like, I'm not touching.
Money. So what's the point in bandwagoning?
Yeah.
And now this person's old as hell.
Yeah.
And now they're a victim from the past, but yet we're not looking at the parents who put them in that situation.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, no, I don't want to touch the gossip. I didn't want to be that particular type of podcast that just come out with the gossip. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I just felt like I wanted to do something that was, that I could look back on, that my parents could watch, that my aunts could watch, that my grandchildren could watch, that my children could watch. And I'm not ashamed.
Across genres.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not a show that I'm ashamed of, you know, shucking and jiving and cutting up and stuff. Our very first 1 or 2 episodes was like, it was just wild style. And I'm like, you know what? Don't get me wrong, that's me. Everything that you see in front of the camera is me. Like I was telling you when we shot here with Myra, that's Nicole. But everybody don't need to see all of Nicole or every side of Nicole.
You have to have part of yourself that you, even though you're in front of the cameras, you still have to have a part of yourself that you're holding private.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people who live their life in front of the cameras aren't that happy for living their life in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
So you still have to have that piece of privacy to you.
Yeah.
So you can maintain a piece of purpose and sense.
Yeah.
So you can't go give the world 100% of you and then get mad when all 100% is being scrutinized as if these people's lives out there through this camera is living perfect.
Yeah, because that's why I used to tell people all the time. People say, "Oh, I can't believe you said that. You telling your business." I said, if I told it, it wasn't my business. I didn't. But what I consider personal business, or what I consider regular business, you may consider personal business. You see what I'm saying?
But that's the key, though. Once again, somebody wants to interject their feelings and their personal outlook upon you. So, in essence, doing podcasting, doing vlogs, any of that stuff, you have to be ready for what comes back at you.
Exactly.
Depending on what you put out there.
Exactly. And to me, it's like, I remember our first couple shows. Okay, so the very first podcast was I Am Risa Tisa. Remember Risa Tisa? She did the different, I think it was TikTok stories or something, talking about dealing with a narcissistic man.
Yes.
Right? So I had people that, and the other ladies too, people, oh, y'all male bashing and y'all, coming down on the black man and coming down on men and this and that. I can't tell you how it is to date a narcissistic woman because I don't date women. I can't do that. But on that show, I did say, don't get it twisted. It's a lot of narcissistic women out here too. But I can't tell my experience of dating one because I don't date women. So I felt like I was having to explain that. Then after a while, I'm like, what's understood don't need to be explained. I mean,
it was pretty cut and dry.
Clear.
I don't date women.
We're a bunch of women up here.
You literally said, I can't speak from that point of view because you don't date women.
Yeah. I'm like, we're a bunch of women talking about our experiences with men. I can't tell you about an experience with a woman. I can't.
Yeah, because that's not a road you drove down.
Exactly. I'm like, boy, bye, get out of my inbox.
Look, and that's funny too because a show that I produced, they were on there talking about fatherhood.
Okay.
The comments were loaded with women talking about, well, if the men would stay around. Well, the flip side to that is, why do you feel a need to chime in when these guys are telling you not that all men are good fathers? They're telling you that via their personal experience and battles,
right,
to just see the kid. Not even to get the kid, just to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a struggle.
Yeah.
But it was 50 to 60 women just straight knives through the heart.
Yeah.
And I told the dudes, I was like, see, you wanted people to comment. Here you go.
Yeah, and that's one thing, you got to stay in your lane for certain things. Like, if it's the guy that's telling his experience, like I tell people, don't dumb down somebody else's experience. I've had to tell my mom that, dealing with her siblings and stuff like that. And she was like, I don't understand why she feels. That's how she feels. That was her experience. You can have 5 kids in the same household, same mom and daddy. They're going to experience those parents differently. They're going to experience life in that house differently. Don't take away from somebody's experience. Let them take their view. Their experiences. Let them express their experience. Exactly.
You're right. You can have 5 kids in the same house, same parents, and each child is going to view that differently.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter how many times you try to treat them all the same, you will never treat anybody on earth the exact same.
The same. And I tell people, I have 5 grandkids. I treat them all differently.
You do?
I do.
Because it's natural.
Because they are different people. They need different things from me at different times. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I got some that's very clingy, stick to my leg, and one every now and then like to come up like a cat, and love up on me. You know how the cats rub up?
Yeah, they disappear.
Then she'll fade away. I got one that just drive me crazy. I think he just loves seeing gray hair spring up out my head. And then is my granddaughter Jersey. She's like a ghost.
He's self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient. She's good to go. I just have to, I occasionally acknowledge, hey, I may, say something to her to let her know that I see you. You know what I'm saying? I have to let her know that I see you.
You still have to acknowledge the fact that she's there so she gets what she needs because she's self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And then she goes on and she's happy.
Yeah. Then I got the barnyard bully, my J-Lo. We call her J-Lo. That's my youngest granddaughter. She's a tomboy. So her and the boy play good together. And I have a relationship with her that's different because she don't want all the girly stuff. Right. Yeah, the little lace and frills that the other girls do. So I have a different relationship with her because I was a tomboy for years, so I can identify with that. and I support it. I was bought, and I tell people this, and people be looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, in my house for Christmas, you would have thought they had a boy and a girl. I was getting Hot Wheel racetrack sets, BMX bikes, breaking boards, Hot Wheels, everything. I was getting all of that. My sister was getting other stuff. I was a straight tomboy. I'm talking about don't buy me no dresses. I don't want none of that. None of that. Don't do it.
It's like, once again, though, that's experiencing different than your sister.
Exactly.
Because you can't treat every kid alike. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I spend more time in the principal's office than I think the principal did. Shoot, for a second there, I thought that was my office.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
But,
So,
you know, you look at the flip side. My brother didn't really spend any time
yeah.
getting in trouble, going through, you know, getting rolled up and all that stuff. He didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
But me, shit. See, look here. If I thought I could get away with it, I was on it.
Okay.
You couldn't tell me nothing. I
Mhm.
was riding. So
Yeah. Different experience.
as you run through these podcasts, I noticed that I find myself looking at other people's podcasts.
Mhm.
Because you always want to do research when doing this. So looking at their podcast, do you find yourself watching other folks' podcasts too to kind of see a slight comparison of what direction you might want to take your next show in? Not comparison in the fact that they doing it better than you or all this, but at the end of the day, you can't see what's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And if you could, it doesn't matter because they're somewhere else anyway.
Actually, not anymore. And it's funny because I haven't reached that mega stardom because I've heard people in the industry say, oh, I don't listen to other people's or I don't watch other people's movies or listen to. I've heard people say that. And I was like, yeah, right. And I'm not even near close to that level, but no, I don't anymore. In the beginning, I did to get pointers and just kind of see how it was going. I did a lot of research to know the flow of how the show should go, which is why I eventually was the conductor of our show, which a lot of people misread that as me it being my show. It wasn't my show. It was I had the experience.
Because you
So
did
I
the research.
Yeah, so I sat at the head of the table and I was the conductor of the show to kind of move it along and stuff like that. But so I did a lot of research in the beginning and a lot of watching and taking notes and just seeing how people did stuff, how they moved, just the flow of how the shows was supposed to go. But now I don't. I find myself not watching any podcast.
Because when I watch podcasts, I never watch it for what they saying. I watch it for the set.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it for the set. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, let's see. They got table mics. I'm not really feeling that, but I do like how they made their background.
Yeah.
It's a little dark, a little moody. I might try that next time. So I do look for it from a producer standpoint and rock and roll from there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So no, I don't really watch. I think, and I don't even know if it's really a podcast, but I'd watch a lot of that Tonight's Conversation thing because I went to the show when they came to Jacksonville. I watch a lot of that, but you know, because I love Kitty. She's just.
Yeah, well, I definitely say thank you for coming. And tell them where they can find the Divas of the Roundtable again.
Okay, so you guys can find us on Facebook at Divas Roundtable Podcast and on YouTube, Divas of the Roundtable Podcast. Normally our shows air on Tuesday night at 8 p.m., but we don't have any new shows to come out. But what I will do is start running back some of our old shows because like I mentioned before, Facebook canceled my first page. They deleted my first page. So I'm building up a second page that is dedicated to the show. So I'm going to start re-airing some of our old shows on Facebook. You can find us. I show them on my page, which is Coley Cole on Facebook, and we have Divas Roundtable Podcast on Facebook, and again on YouTube, Divas of the Roundtable Podcast.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, watching the podcast playground where podcasters come to play, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Right.
We out.